Think about you when I'm making a mistake.
Welcome back to my shop. To make a long story short, I have been experimenting, if you've seen my videos so far, with some mineral inlays instead of soft stone inlays, which are more common. And I've solved the problem of filing this down using a small diamond coated disc, and that works very well. So now, going on to the next step of this process, I have to decide between these two blanks that I've prepared in advance, and I need to consider what are my options and why I should choose one over the other. So if you can see here, I have a blank of mulberry. It is about 30 centimeters, 30.5 centimeters wide, which translates to 12 inches pretty much exactly, maybe a little bit more. While here I have a piece of Cypress, which is, if I look at the blank size, sorry, we're talking about 26 centimeters or about 10 inches. The reason to choose one over the other are as follows. This piece, the mulberry piece, is a lot fresher than this piece, so cutting into the fresh mulberry will be much easier than cutting into the more dry or the drier cypress, although cypress is much less denser than the mulberry. My main issue is that working on this bowl that I'm going to make, if you haven't understood from the title or from what I said so far that I'm going to make a bowl, then I am going to make a bowl with a wide rim so I could implement my recently acquired knowledge in embedding those stones in it. So my main concern is that I don't have a lot of time to work on this project, and I will have to split it up over a couple of days, maybe 3-4 days, since I have only about an hour and a half a day to invest in this project. So at the beginning I was sure that I'm going to make the bowl from mulberry, but since I know cypress warps very little while drying, I think I'm going to go with the cypress. I will be able to shape it and leave it on the lathe and then come back to it a day later, and it won't be out of center and it won't wobble as much as I know the mulberry does, and it does.
To Chicago, I didn't know where else to go. I was paid to shoot a man. I just shot him and then I ran. I didn't even get the money I owed. I turned around and took to the road. I've been wandering to and fro and made my way to Chicago. I see the fire of the barrel and bullet fly like an arrow. I see the trouble in the poor man's eyes. I see his soul take to the skies.
what we have here is our unfinished on the inside bowl, our aventuring, and then I've got everything set up here to mix some casting epoxy, which will be the first time I'm doing it, so forgive me if something goes wrong. What I also have here is this small silicone container or a mold, which I bought at the supermarket, and I thought that if I have some resin left, then I should simply pour it into the mold, and then I'll use the mold to pour in any future resin leftovers I have, and maybe that will produce an interesting blank that we can do something with, but that only time will tell. I have here some plastic straws that I thought I might be able to use to mix the the resin, and I got a couple of plastic chopsticks for the same reason, in case these are too soft. A plastic cup. I got my reference piece here, if you can remember it. The recess that I've made for the inlay is actually deeper than most of my stones, if not all of them. So I'll put a few here inside. You see, those are quite small fragments of stones, and they are all below the height of the rim. So my thought at the moment is to fill this up with stones and then pour clear resin on top of them, and hopefully a little bit above, so I will be able to scrape it and sand it down to flat. So I'm just going to spread the stones around, and I'll try to shift them around to fill it as best as possible. Okay, so this epoxy, not epoxy, I'm sorry, this resin that I bought is a 2-part resin, and as you can see it's labeled A and B, or maybe this way, it's labeled A and B, and I need to put 100 of A to 60 of B. So every gram of A should have 6/10 gram of B. Now, trying to figure out how much epoxy I should put into this is beyond my mathematical skills. So I'm just going to guess it. And I'm going to guess that I wouldn't need more than 5 grams of material in total when I'm looking at this and filling all those small voids. So I can always mix more. So I'll mix 4 grams, I'm sorry, let me think again. I'll mix 3 grams, let's do 4 grams of A, and then the 60% of that into, of B. Let me get a calculator, obviously. As you can see, I've already mounted back the ball on the lathe, and the resin is all cured up. Now, if you're asking yourself, Yuval, how come you didn't show us how you cast the resin? Well, due to technical difficulties, which boils down to me forgetting to press the record button, I didn't record me casting the resin. So just to make the process clear, I just weighed out the quantities, mixed them slowly, and then poured the resin over the stones. So now the resin is dried. I can see there are a few points that the resin is dried lower than the level of the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file these stones down, and then the next step I will fill up all the gaps with beads of medium CA glue, and I will give it a couple of hours to cure before I give it the final sanding. Now I hope you can hear me, because I am speaking with my respirator on. I have no intention of taking off this respirator, at least in the vicinity of my lathe, while I'm still working on the stones. If there's one thing I know, is that I don't want to breathe stone particles. Okay, this looks flat. And it feels flat with the glove. Let me try with my bare hands. Yes. This feels flat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand this a little bit with 80 grit. I don't need my gloves anymore. I'm going to sand this down to 80 grit, maybe to 120, and then I will give it a coat or a bead of CA glue to fill in all the small gaps. As you can see, there aren't many gaps, not like our experiment, but there are little points where the resin has shrunk or dispersed, and there are small points of voids. Nothing serious. Okay. The way I'm going to file this down is I'm going to use this piece of wood and wrap my sanding paper like this around it, and this way when I come to sand I can sand it flush and flat. And this is what happens when you leave a sharp edge on your bowl and you're not careful. It's a pretty wide and deep gash, but it's nothing that a band-aid won't fix. I really like the way this sanded out, and as far as voids and holes go, there are actually very few of those. There's a little bit here and a little bit here, some tiny depressions here. This is perfectly flat, a small point here, small point there. So this is really, I'll just go and put a drop of CA on each one of those little holes, and those are not many. I can see just about 10 or 15 of those, but we'll be wiser once we get the CA on.
I don't wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know.
Looking at the stones angled, the reflection of the light shows me better where the depressions are. I really don't know how the pros do that, or this process. It'd be interesting to go visit one someday and have a look. So I'm gonna leave it here to cure for a couple of hours, This is medium CA glue, so it will cure slower than your normal thin CA glue.
From home, I don't wanna be the crooked person in your heart. I don't wanna stop, and I don't wanna stop. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. I don't wanna waste no more of your precious time.
And as always, at the end of my videos, here is the finished ball. Now there are a few points about this ball that I would like to make before I show you the rest of the angles that we're used to at the end of my videos. So the inlay itself didn't come out perfect. There are some small fittings. In general, it could have been done better. About the shape of the ball in general, which I'll show you later, I don't like that either. It didn't come out the way I imagined it should. About the finish, maybe you can't see it in the video, but it came out very streaky. I don't know if it's because of the wood, or the way I applied, or the current temperature, or what was it exactly that made the finish have a streaky look, but I don't like it. The overall ball, I have to say that I love it. It's pretty, I like it. It's large, it's functional, it has a stone inlay, my very first. I love it. It was a very, very pleasurable project to work on and to learn from. And I think I will be doing more of these in the future. About the surface of the stones not coming out completely flat like I would have loved it to come out. I think that what I'll do next time when I'm trying to inlay something into wood like this, in this type of orientation from the top, I will make my groove much deeper. I'm not talking about a whole lot deeper, but I'm definitely going to leave about a millimeter and a half of depth over the depth I'm planning to make the stone inlay. And in that effect, when I will fill that groove completely with the stones and the resin, I can simply cut away a layer of the wood and stone and resin, leaving a completely flat surface with no marks on it whatsoever. And that would be the thing I'll do next time around. Let me give you a few more angles of this lovely bowl.
I don't wanna say that everything will be fine. I don't wanna feel your tears on my skin. I'm a coward, baby, don't let me in. Part-time lover, how we suffer now.
Thank you for joining me in my shop. for this week's project. And I hope to see you back in my shop, creating beautiful things very soon.